All right, welcome into the Breer Report for February the 6th. We have just 3 days left until Super Bowl 59 here in New Orleans. This will be the last Breer Report of the 2024 season. When we see you next, a champion will have been crowned and we will be on to 2025. We're going to look at it first from the Chiefs' perspective and a couple of things that I see key here going into Sunday. And the first thing is how they handle their offensive line. We know the Eagles' strength is on the offensive line and the defensive line. So how the Chiefs handle the Eagles' defensive front, I think, will be a major key into the way this game is played. So much of what Vic Fangio does defensively is based on making a quarterback think fast. They adjust after the snap. They don't let you see what coverage you're in. And if Patrick Mahomes doesn't have time to get a good look at it because his offensive linemen are being beat, that could be a big edge for Philly. So to that end, do they play Joe Thuney at left tackle or left guard? I think this is going to be a huge factor in the game. I think there's a chance that they do move him into guard. They move him into guard to handle Jalen Carter. In all likelihood, DJ Humphries or Wanya Morris plays left tackle. How does that look with the Eagles' edge players? Of course, left tackle is the most important position on the offensive line. But again, for this specific matchup, the Eagles have good players on the outside, good edge players, and they've got great players on the inside. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, even Milton Williams can be a problem. So where the Chiefs use Joe Thuney, do they rotate a little bit through to get a feel for it? I think it's going to be a major factor. And remember, Thuney has been huge in stabilizing the offensive line out of that left tackle spot, but he might be a Hall of Fame guard. So that's a big decision that the Chiefs will have to make. Another thing to watch with the Chiefs is how they deploy their faster players. Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Those two guys, taking some time to get them to be the factors that the Chiefs saw them being back in the summer. Worthy, of course, is a rookie. Took some time for him to learn the pro game. And then with Hollywood Brown, he was hurt for most of the year. They've had those two guys back in the lineup together. Those guys have been a factor in the playoffs. They were a factor late in the regular season. And so how they use those two guys could be a key difference in the way this game is played versus the way the game 2 years ago was played. Remember, 2 years ago, and even last year, they had the bigger, more physical receiver group. After trading Tyreek Hill following the 2021 season, Brown and Worthy have added the speed element back into the Chiefs' offense. And there could be some matchups there for the Chiefs to take advantage of some things, not weaknesses, some things in the Eagles secondary where they don't move guys around a lot. They're pretty static. And so could you see a Cooper DeJean matched up on a Xavier Worthy or a Hollywood Brown? And could that create some explosive plays for the Chiefs offense that loosens the Eagles up? I think that's going to be a key for the Chiefs as well. And then defensively, of course, I think what you're looking for from the Chiefs is what they do with their defensive front. I don't think we're going to see one defensive front for the Chiefs. I think you're going to see them moving guys around a lot. And I think Leo Chenal, their linebacker, their young linebacker, is going to be a major key in this game because they can play him on the line or off the line. And they can use it so they use him in a way where the Eagles won't be able to get a read before the snap on what they're doing, which could affect the Eagles' ability to get Saquon Barkley going in the run game. All right, on the Eagles side of this, to me, the first part of it is very simple. Again, their strength is on the offensive line. Their strength is on the defensive line. So for the Eagles, I think so much of this comes down to, on offense, winning on first down and creating manageable down and distance situations. And if you don't win on first down, then being able to get Jalen Carter or Jalen Hurts as a runner into the open field on second down to stay out of long yardage. A massive, massive, massive part of this game for the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be staying out of third and long. And so can they control the clock? Can they keep Patrick Mahomes off the field? Can they keep themselves in situations where the Chiefs can't just go and tee off on Jalen Hurts? I think that is going to be a major factor. And then the second key for me for the Eagles is how do you handle Travis Kelce? This plays a little bit into those inside coverage guys. Travis Kelce isn't what he was 5 years ago. He isn't what he was 10 years ago. But he's still a very important player in critical situations for the Chiefs. the Chiefs don't have a third and long problem like the Eagles might have a third and long problem on Sunday. The Chiefs can handle those situations, but a big key to handling those situations is Travis Kelce and what he brings to the table. So how are you handling Travis Kelce? My guess would be we'll probably see a lot of Cooper DeJean on Travis Kelce in this game. Do you give him help? Do you take a resource out of the middle of the field? If you take a resource out of the middle of the field, it can become harder to spy Patrick Mahomes. He becomes more dangerous, not only as a runner, but throwing off script. And that's really where you don't want to be if you're the Chiefs. So those would be the two things I'd look for when it comes to where the Eagles are going into this game, is how are they handling Travis Kelce and how are they staying out of long yardage situations on offense. All right. So that brings us to our third topic, which is what is on the line for each of these teams. For the Chiefs, it's pretty simple. It's history. Can they etch their name in the history of the league in the same way that the Patriots once did, that the Niners did, that the Steelers did? At least when I was growing up, the bar for championships was getting 4 Super Bowl championships. Joe Montana got there. Terry Bradshaw got there. Chuck Noll was part of that with Terry Bradshaw. Bill Walsh had 3 of the 5 championships in San Francisco. So the bar that really separated the great dynasties, at least when I was a kid, was winning 4 Super Bowls. There were only 2 at the time that had done it. The Niners wind up winning a 5th with Steve Young. But Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana separated themselves as winners with 4 Super Bowls. So Patrick Mahomes can put himself up in that category as one of the great winners in the history of the game. And I think he's already getting there, but as one of the great winners in the history of the game, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can put themselves in that category. There's also some history that they can make here that's never been accomplished before. 3 Super Bowl championships in a row. They've already won. They've already been to 5 in 6 years. That's never been done before. When you're at this level, you're looking to find ways to separate yourself and create some history of your own. And the Chiefs are already well on their way to doing that. So as for what's on the line for the Chiefs, it's not like we're going to sit there and say they're a failure if they don't wind up winning the Super Bowl with the group that they have out there on Sunday, because they won the Super Bowl largely with this group the last 2 years. But there is a chance to create some unique history for themselves and win another championship again with the 3 players that have been at the core of all of this: Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce. Get Andy Reid a 4th championship. Put Andy Reid on, again, another level of coach and getting him his 4th championship. He'd be only the 3rd coach ever to do that. He'd be only 2 wins behind Bill Belichick on the all-time playoff wins record. Just a lot of history on the line for the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. Again, this isn't a zero-sum game where you wind up with nothing if you walk away without the championship, but a great opportunity in front of the Chiefs. As for the Eagles, I think it's a little bit different. The way they're perceived, where they are, the way Nick Sirianni is viewed, the way that whole group is seen, a lot of it can swing on Sunday. And whether that's fair or not, winning a Super Bowl versus having 2 Super Bowl losses in 3 years and potentially missing a window that you've got with a very, very talented, well-balanced group, that'd be a really tough blow. Howie Roseman has a chance again to put himself in another category of executive here, winning with 2 different coaches, winning with 2 different quarterbacks, and having done it all those years ago with Doug Peterson and Nick Foles. He's got the chance now to do it with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. So Nick Sirianni is perceived differently. Howie Roseman's perceived differently. Jalen Hurts is perceived differently if they win this game on Sunday. If they lose it, I think we're talking about everybody being under a lot of pressure in 2025. That doesn't mean people are going to lose their jobs, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on this team to win one over the next couple of years, because the window that they have isn't extended by having a quarterback at the level of Patrick Mahomes the way the Chiefs' window is. This group of players they're not going to be able to keep this group of players together forever. And so it's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to come into this game and play free. It's one thing I've noticed being around the Chiefs all week is how loose they look, how comfortable they look. This looks like a team that's so ready to go and so ready for the moment because they've been in the moment before. And I think you've got an Eagles team where I think we're going to be able to see early in the game where they're at and whether or not they look tight. Again, the Chiefs team that may be able to go into this game feeling like they're playing with house money. feeling like they're only playing with something to gain rather than a whole lot to lose. The circumstances a little bit better, a little bit different for the Eagles. As for my game pick, I'm going to reinforce my do not pick against the Chiefs rule here. I self-imposed that rule after last year's Super Bowl. I picked the Niners to beat the Chiefs. That was really stupid. I will not make the mistake of picking against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid until further notice. I love where the Eagles are. I love the way the Eagles are playing. I love the job that Nick Sirianni has done. I think he's been so unfairly criticized over the course of the last year. I think Saquon Barkley's having a historic season. Jalen Hurts has answered some questions over the course of the last couple of months. Their defense has been fantastic. Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore have done a great job. Fangio cementing himself as one of the best defensive coordinators of his generation. Kellen Moore on his way to becoming the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Love so much about the Eagles. But again, they don't have Patrick Mahomes and they don't have Andy Reid. And I've just learned my lesson about picking against those guys in a spot like this one. So on Sunday, again, what this comes down to for me, I think it's a relatively even matchup. I think that the Eagles have the more talented roster, but it's so hard to go against the Chiefs. I think it's close enough here where it's going to come down to the last 5 minutes of the game. And in the last 5 minutes of the game, I think you'd be foolish to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I think you'd be foolish to pick against Andy Reid. Chiefs 27, Eagles 23. The Chiefs win their 4th Super Bowl in the last 6 years, their 3rd championship in a row, the first team ever to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. And can they win 4 in a row next year in San Francisco? We got plenty of time to talk about all that. I appreciate all of you guys coming out all year for the inaugural season of the Breer Report. We got so much to talk about in the coming weeks and months. A lot of news over the last week that'll affect what happens in the offseason. Myles Garrett, Matthew Stafford. So keep it here with us. We're going to keep bringing the content. The Combine, by the way, begins 2 weeks from Monday. And I know for 30 fan bases, you're already on to 2025. And soon enough, we will be too. We'll see you guys next week.